is the backstory on how I developed my music taste and also why I started playing drums. Ever since I was a kid, I grew up listening to all kinds of music. I loved listening to the rock station and my parents' CD collections during car rides. For some reason, the drums were the main thing I was listening to and focusing on. At sporting games and school assemblies, we got the crowd stomping and clapping their hands to "We Will Rock You." I was all in for those moments. Even before playing drums, it would drive me crazy when the crowd was clapping on the wrong beat. Hannah Montana was one of my favorite shows as a kid. I would always pretend to play the drum intro on Best of Both Worlds, which is their theme song. I begged my parents to turn the radio station to Radio Disney. As you could see here, some of the songs they played in the mid-2000s were very pop, rock, emo incorporated. Most of it was radio-friendly pop, but they still threw in some pop-punk bangers. I would go over to my friend's house and play Rock Band and Guitar Hero. I always chose to play drums because it was the thing I was best at. As you can see, the playlist selection is basically the music I listen to today. And I'm sure some of you guys can relate with me. In high school, I started going to a bunch of rock and metal shows. I would always look forward to the summer because we had the band's Warped Tour. All of my favorite bands would play there and I would have a blast every single time. Like I said earlier, I always watched and paid attention to the drummer. I said to myself, I want to do this someday. I want to be on that stage and tour. In the beginning, all I had was a practice pad, and there's only so much you can do with that. Obviously, to play a full drum set, you need to use your hands and your feet, so I needed to have all the parts of a drum set. The one thing that was holding me back from committing to play drums was the loudness it makes. I had to convince my mom to get me an electric set for my 19th birthday. She finally agreed as long as I used headphones while playing. The tapping sound still annoyed her, but at least it was quieter than an acoustic. I started taking drum lessons to improve as much as I can since I had a much later startup than most of the other drummers I knew. Most of them have been playing since they were really little kids. I joined local bands in my music scene and learned how to jam and write songs in a group. Don't worry, I was also practicing on acoustic drums, but not as much since I'm not allowed to have it in my house. Sadly, I couldn't go to college for a performance major because I didn't have enough playing experience. I was inspired by other YouTubers to upload drum covers. I saw so many girls like me that can absolutely shred on drums. I was quite amazed, so that's what I started to do. Here's one of my first videos I uploaded. It was nowhere near as good as the ones I post now. In 2020, we all had to go on lockdown because of the pandemic. It was a very rough time for so many people, but this gave me a lot of time to practice new things and create more drumming related content. A lot of musicians I've worked with found me from Instagram or YouTube, and I have also met so many cool and amazing musicians from here. It is so cool when I meet someone from social media and we hang out for the very first time or I get to see them perform. A thing that has helped me a lot was piano being my very first instrument. I studied a lot of music theory in school. My favorite part was learning rhythms, and that really helps me with learning songs and new things on drums. I want to give a big shout out to all the teachers and people I've learned from within the past 7 years. Also to all the drummers that have inspired me. I take this drumming journey one day at a time, and it is my true passion that makes my life worth living.